As I emerged from the dimly lit cyclopean chamber, the warm, golden sunlight that bathed the streets of New York seemed a cruel mockery, a stark contrast to the eldritch horrors that lurked in the shadows. The memories of the cult's twisted rituals, the grotesque, green, scaly flesh of the creature, and the haunting, otherworldly piping that seemed to sear itself into my very soul, all swirled together in a maelstrom of madness that threatened to consume me whole. I stumbled through the city streets, a stranger in a strange land, as the familiar skyscrapers and bustling crowds seemed to loom over me like specters, their faces twisted into grotesque, inhuman grins. The world, once a rational, understandable place, had been turned upside down, revealing a twisted, nightmarish realm that lurked just beneath the surface of reality. I felt like a man who had stumbled into a living nightmare, with no escape from the clutches of the monstrous, malevolent forces that lurked in the darkness. Every step I took, every breath I made, seemed to echo with the haunting, piping call of the creature, a call that seemed to grow louder, more insistent with every passing moment. As I walked, the city streets seemed to blur together, a kaleidoscope of sounds, sights, and smells that assaulted my senses, leaving me reeling, disoriented. The sounds of car horns, chatter, and wailing sirens all blended together into a cacophony of chaos, a symphony of madness that seemed to match the turmoil that raged within my mind. I felt like a small, insignificant, fragile thing, a mere mortal, adrift in a sea of uncertainty, as the vast, unknowable cosmic forces that lurked beyond the veil of reality seemed to close in around me. And yet, even as the horrors I had witnessed seemed to overwhelm me, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had merely scratched the surface of a far larger, more complex and more sinister truth. The cult, the creature, the twisted, cyclopean cities that lurked beneath the waves, all seemed to be mere threads in a far larger, more intricate tapestry, a tapestry that seemed to stretch out before me like an endless, dark, and foreboding sea. As the days passed, I found myself becoming increasingly withdrawn, isolated, unable to shake the feeling that I was being watched, that unblinking, malevolent eyes were trained on me, waiting for me to let my guard down, to succumb to the madness that lurked within. I would see things out of the corner of my eye, twisted, grotesque creatures that seemed to flit at the edges of my perception, only to vanish when I turned to look. I would hear whispers in the night, faint, raspy, whispers that seemed to carry on the wind, whispers that spoke of dark, forbidden knowledge and the terrible, soul-shattering power that lurked beyond the stars. And then there were the dreams, the twisted, surreal nightmares that seemed to haunt my every waking moment. I would dream of the creature, of its twisted, green, scaly flesh, of its bulging, pulsing eyes that seemed to burn with an otherworldly, malevolent intelligence. I would dream of the cult, of their twisted, depraved rituals, of the haunting, piping call that seemed to echo through my mind, long after I had awoken. I would dream of the cities, the twisted, cyclopean metropolises that lurked beneath the waves, their towering, monolithic spires reaching up towards the sky like skeletal fingers, as if to snare the unwary and drag them down into the depths of madness and despair. As the dreams grew more intense, more vivid, I began to realize that I was losing my grip on reality, that the horrors I had witnessed were slowly, inexorably, driving me mad. I would find myself wandering the streets, unsure of where I was, or how I had gotten there, with no memory of the events that had transpired since I had last been aware. I would stumble upon strange, cryptic symbols etched into the walls, symbols that seemed to pulse with a malevolent, otherworldly energy, as if they were gateways to realms beyond our own. And yet, even as the madness closed in around me, I couldn't help but feel a twisted, perverse fascination with the horrors that lurked beyond the veil of reality. I would pore over the ancient, forbidden tomes that I had uncovered, devouring the dark, forbidden knowledge that they contained, as if I was driven by a morbid curiosity, a desire to understand the twisted, eldritch forces that lurked beyond the stars. As the darkness deepened, I began to realize that I was not alone in my quest for knowledge, that there were others out there, others who shared my fascination with the horrors that lurked beyond the veil of reality. I would receive strange, cryptic letters that spoke of forbidden knowledge and the terrible, soul-shattering power that lurked beyond the stars. I would meet with strangers who seemed to know more than they were letting on, strangers who would whisper hints of dark, forbidden secrets and the terrible, eldritch forces that lurked beyond the veil of reality. And so, I continued my journey, a journey into the heart of madness, a journey that would take me to the very limits of human endurance and beyond. I would delve deeper into the mysteries of the Cthulhu mythos, uncovering secrets that were meant to remain hidden and confronting horrors that would haunt my every waking moment. The call of Cthulhu, the haunting, piping call that had first drawn me into this twisted, nightmarish world, seemed to grow louder, more insistent with every passing moment. A call that I could not resist, a call that would ultimately lead me to the very brink of madness and beyond.